He was hailed as the hero of the Orange Revolution, a man who'd survived an alleged poisoning attempt on his life to overturn a fixed election result and rightfully take his place as Ukraine's president. But a controversial gas deal signed after Russia threatened to cut supplies in the new year has turned Ukraine's President Viktor Yushchenko from hero to villain, accused of failing to stand up against Russia and the corrupt business mafia allegedly running his country. In an exclusive interview, he's told Channel 4 News the deal was a success, ending Ukraine's feudal subservience to Mother Russia. But questions remain, not least about the company which acted as a middleman in the new gas contract. Our foreign affairs correspondent, Jonathan Miller, went to a frozen Kiev to investigate who really won in the New Year gas showdown.
It's -15 and it's been snowing. A perfect day for a dip in the river Dnieper. Last week, a politically isolated president went for some ritual cleansing, taking the plunge with cabinet ministers who'd just been sacked by parliament. The emperor in his underpants. Political metaphors everywhere. Near-naked president, thin ice, out in the cold. But Viktor Yushchenko's first year in office has been a baptism of fire. Just over a year ago, the world watched entranced as Yushchenko challenged the results of a rigged election, a defiant show of political brinkmanship. Here he is with his ally, Yulia Tymoshenko. Twice Prime Minister, she'd made her fortune running a gas supply company. National survival was at stake, breaking free from Russia's age-old embrace, delivery from corruption. Independence Square was where the Orange Revolution was won. And here it is today. The party long over, the euphoria gone, and along with it the high hopes this country had of a new era dawning. A year on and Viktor Yushchenko unable to deliver on promises made. The gas deal was his biggest political test so far, and in it he has failed on 2 counts. He's failed to stand up to big brother Russia next door, and he's failed to stand up to Ukraine's notorious business mafia. I met him just as he was psyching up for his icy dip. His face still bearing the scars of the poisoning, allegedly an attempt on his life, just before he was thrust into the international limelight.
Таке відчуття, як у тебе був день народження, який буває раз на рік, а потім починається робочий день.
It's the feeling you get the day after your birthday when you have to go back to work. It had been a great year for Ukraine. It certainly wasn't an ordinary one. We haven't experienced freedoms like these in 15 years of independence.
The president's been savaged over the gas deal. Even his prime minister says Ukraine was blackmailed by Russia. 2 weeks ago, the government was sacked because of the deal. Viktor Yushchenko says that was unlawful. He maintains the deal was good for Ukraine.
Це успішне врегулювання, яке дає змогу перейти на новий, я б сказав, по принципі відносин.
It was a successful negotiation. It gives us the opportunity to have good relations with Russia over gas supply. We're moving towards the European model, and by doing so, we've consigned a feudal arrangement to history.
For decades, Russia gave Ukraine cheap gas. Last month, Gazprom, the Russian gas giant backed by the Kremlin, demanded a 4-fold price hike. The US Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice pronounced it politically motivated, Yushchenko's punishment for veering westwards. Earlier this month, Viktor Yushchenko met Russian President Vladimir Putin in Kazakhstan. Look at the body language. By then the deal had been done though, the price had only doubled. Yushchenko claimed victory. Ukraine had won a 5-year reprieve. Yulia Tymoshenko, his old ally, claims that's nonsense. She's now Yushchenko's bitter rival. She showed me the confidential contract which the government wanted to keep secret. She claims it was cooked up in a Moscow hotel by unelected officials, an alleged Russian mafia boss, and a shadowy company called RosUkrEnergo, a joint venture between unknown Ukrainians and a subsidiary of Russia's Gazprom. The document is just a page and a half long. The contract doesn't run for 5 years, as had been announced. In fact, it doesn't specify gas prices beyond June this year. Experts say the contract has gaps and ambiguities and makes Ukraine dependent on RosUkrEnergo as the middleman for its gas supply. The company is forecast to make profits of nearly $4 billion this year.
Мне кажется, хорошие хозяева по такому короткому.
I think that a good owner wouldn't put their dog in a kennel based on a contract as short and badly written as this.
Потому что всегда компания RosUkrEnergo и все, что с ней связано, это самая мощная коррупция.
RosUkrEnergo and all connected to it is the most powerful corrupt scheme to have existed in Russia and Ukraine since our independence.
Именно Украины и России с момента обретения независимости. Я считаю, что для Европы.
I think it's a very dangerous agreement for Europe. It creates a system of instability in the transport of gas through Ukraine to European countries.
Через территорию Украины для европейских стран.
RosUkrEnergo is now the most important company in Ukraine, controlling its main energy source and providing nearly a third of Europe's gas supplies. But when I asked the president of Ukraine who was behind the company, he was at a loss for words.
Не знаю.
I don't know.
Я не виключаю того.
They may have been Ukrainians, but I really don't know who these people are.
У структури RosUkrEnergo
When it was set up 2 years ago, the founders of RosUkrEnergo could have been anyone.
батьками того проекту 2 роки назад могли бути введені будь-хто.
We don't know who they are. There are many rumours about them. We don't know. That is unsatisfactory now because this organisation has become relatively powerful and potentially very rich indeed.
We scoured Kiev's business district in search of RosUkrEnergo's local office, seeking a response to allegations that the company was tainted. There was no office. People we'd heard might be connected to RosUkrEnergo did not take our calls. The mysterious Ukrainian half of the company, it turned out, was owned by an Austrian firm, itself owned by another Austrian company, Raiffeisen Investment. There was a Raiffeisen bank in Kiev, but no Raiffeisen investment, so we spoke to the Vienna head office. Today I was told that a London-based company, Merlin Corporate Reputation Management, would respond on their behalf. After stating that RosUkrEnergo is pleased to have been able to contribute to achieving a solution to the gas dispute, Merlin Corporate Reputation Management addressed persistent allegations of mafia links printed in the Ukrainian media. Raiffeisen has undertaken detailed due diligence on the background and structure of RosUkrEnergo and is absolutely confident that there are no links of this kind, it said. To be fair, Channel 4 News has been unable to find evidence of mafia links, but then again, the names of all shareholders remain secret. The Russian ambassador used to head Gazprom, Russia's biggest gas company, which now wants to buy a major stake in the British gas industry. To him, RosUkrEnergo's lack of corporate transparency is not an issue.
As far as corruption is concerned, that's absolutely not a question for me. I don't know these things, I can't know, and I don't even want to know.
Last night, on the first anniversary of his inauguration as president, Viktor Yushchenko addressed the nation on television. He told his 48 million people the world had recognized Ukraine's ability to defend its national interests, and he cited as convincing proof its solution of what he called the gas problem. It wasn't quite the whole story. Just over a year ago, there was such joie de vivre here. This month, an international survey ranked Ukrainians the unhappiest people on earth. For Viktor Yushchenko's disillusioned orange revolutionaries, the future wasn't bright. It turned out the same old murky shade of grey. Jonathan Miller, Channel 4 News, Kiev.